The idea that suffering is essential to growth is a concept deeply embedded in the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the most influential and often controversial thinkers of the 19th century. Nietzsche's exploration of suffering goes beyond mere endurance. He sees it as a necessary and transformative force in the development of the human spirit. His philosophy challenges the conventional view that suffering is something to be avoided or minimized, proposing instead that it plays a crucial role in personal and spiritual growth. By embracing suffering, Nietzsche argues, we can achieve greatness and realize our true potential. Nietzsche's perspective on suffering is rooted in his broader philosophy of life, which is centered around the concept of the will to power. According to Nietzsche, the will to power is the fundamental driving force behind all human actions. It is not just a desire for power in the traditional sense, but a deeper, intrinsic motivation to assert, overcome, and transcend oneself. This process of self-overcoming is inherently linked to suffering, as it is through facing and enduring challenges that individuals can grow and evolve. For Nietzsche, suffering is not just an inevitable part of life, it is a catalyst for growth. He famously declared, "What does not kill me makes me stronger," encapsulating his belief that adversity can fortify the individual. In Nietzsche's view, suffering forces us to confront our limitations, weaknesses, and fears. It compels us to dig deep within ourselves to find the strength to persevere and overcome obstacles. This process of struggle and overcoming is what leads to the development of higher virtues such as courage, resilience, and wisdom. Nietzsche contrasts this view of suffering with what he sees as the prevailing morality of his time, which he criticizes as life-denying. He argues that the dominant moral systems, particularly Christianity, promote a view of life that seeks to avoid suffering at all costs, valuing comfort and safety over challenge and growth. Nietzsche refers to this as slave morality, which he believes encourages mediocrity and passivity by glorifying meekness and humility. In contrast, Nietzsche advocates for a master morality, where individuals embrace suffering as a means to achieve excellence and self-mastery. This approach to life, he argues, is life-affirming because it recognizes suffering as a necessary part of the process of becoming a stronger and more capable individual. Central to Nietzsche's philosophy is the concept of the Overman, a figure who has transcended the limitations of ordinary human existence through the process of self-overcoming. The Overman does not shy away from suffering, but rather sees it as an essential part of the journey towards self-realization. This figure embodies the highest expression of human potential, having forged a unique path through the trials and tribulations of life. Nietzsche believed that only by facing suffering head-on and using it as a tool for growth can individuals rise above the herd mentality and achieve true greatness. Nietzsche's emphasis on suffering as a path to growth also finds expression in his concept of love of fate. This idea encourages embracing life in its entirety, including its hardships and pains, without wishing for anything to be different. Nietzsche saw this as a form of spiritual maturity, where one accepts suffering as an integral part of life and finds meaning in it. By loving one's fate, including the suffering it entails, Nietzsche believed that individuals could transcend resentment and despair, transforming suffering into a source of strength and wisdom. However, Nietzsche's philosophy of suffering is not without its critics. Some argue that his glorification of suffering overlooks the real and often debilitating effects it can have on individuals. They contend that not all suffering leads to growth, and that in many cases it can result in trauma, despair, and destruction. Nietzsche's response to this would likely emphasize the importance of how one responds to suffering rather than the suffering itself. For Nietzsche, it is the active engagement with suffering, the refusal to be defeated by it, that leads to growth. This perspective suggests that suffering alone is not enough, it must be met with a will to overcome and transform it. Nietzsche's insights into suffering challenge us to reconsider our relationship with pain and adversity. In a world that often prioritizes comfort and the avoidance of discomfort, Nietzsche's philosophy invites us to see suffering as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. He urges us to embrace the difficulties we encounter, to see them not as obstacles to be avoided, but as essential steps on the path to becoming who we are meant to be. In essence, Nietzsche's wisdom on suffering offers a powerful reminder that growth often comes at a cost. It is through facing the harsh realities of life, enduring its pains, and rising above them that we achieve our fullest potential. While suffering is not something to be sought out for its own sake, Nietzsche teaches us that when it does come, it can be transformed into a source of strength and wisdom. By embracing this difficult truth, we can find a deeper meaning in our struggles and emerge from them stronger, wiser, and more fully alive.